Why the fuck are you vacationing in the United States? What is wrong with you? Give your head a shake.
Good news! Tourists who would like to visit the United States, a land of the free, would now need to submit their past 5 years of social media history under a new proposal. But perchance you didn't know, this is only one of the requirements. You may also need to submit your past 5 years of all of your phone records, all of your previous email addresses, information about your closest relatives, and even your DNA. So please, come and visit the most free country on this planet Earth. I desire you to do so, actually. Actually, I implore you to do so. Please come and visit. And for anyone who thinks this is a good thing, remember, whatever you allow your country to do to others, they will inevitably end up doing the same thing back to you.
Honestly, why are people willfully coming to the United States? There's so many better countries. I want my universal health care. I want pro bono civil representation. Lawyers shouldn't be a luxury. Healthcare shouldn't be a luxury. These are basic necessities that we need. All of that is free overseas. Southern Europe, Italy, Spain, Lisbon, that's a gold mine. You can literally get a 50-room mansion for $30,000 US. Gourmet meals with wine go for as low as 10 euros.
So now Donald Trump is saying that any tourists entering the United States have to provide 5 years of their social media history, along with any phone numbers, addresses, or even email addresses they've used in the last 10 years, and possibly even provide the names, addresses, and phone numbers of their family members just to enter the country. Now, I can go to China, Russia, North Korea right now and not have to provide that. But the freest country in the world is saying that that's a requirement just to enter the country because they don't want people who don't like the president. He is that fragile. Now, I'm wondering, sitting up here in Canada, how many people still want to travel to the United States and why? What is it about the United States that is so alluring that you're willing to step into an authoritarian country who clearly doesn't want you there?
The U.S. lost $12 billion of tourism revenue last year. Canadians, Mexicans, Europeans, all boycotting Trump and ICE.
$2.3 trillion is the estimated contribution to GDP to U.S. tourism. So people coming into the U.S., bringing their money with it and spending in the US. It's one of the biggest contributors to the US economy. And it looks like Donald Trump and the Republican Party have introduced something which is probably the biggest contributor to no tourism in the US. Have you heard about it? It's ridiculous. So if you want to go to the US and you're in the UK or any kind of similar country to the UK, which is visa free, then you've got to give 5 years worth of social media, access to 5 years social media, email addresses and phone numbers of all your friends. I think I heard someone talk about you've got to give some kind of DNA sample as well. No thanks, Donald.
So United States tourism is plummeting in the billions. Billions of dollars, that is. And you know how folks often tell international communities how much they need our tourism dollars? A lot of Americans forget that their own cities thrive off of tourism. In 2023 alone, the United States travel and tourism market contributed to $2.36 trillion. And the cities and states that rely heavily on hotel taxes, sales taxes, and other tourism-related fees, less tourism for you means less funding in education, transit, and infrastructure in your city or state.
The U.S. lost $12 billion of tourism revenue last year. Canadians, Mexicans, Europeans, all boycotting Trump and ICE.
On tourism, there's been a steep drop-off in international travel to the United States. It was down 12% last month, down even more from Western Europe. Why do you think that there are fewer people suddenly who want to travel to the United States?
Well, there could be a little, there's a little nationalism there, I guess, perhaps. It's not a big deal. And our dollar is a little bit on the low side. and that means that a lot of tourism is going to come in. But I could see a little bit nationalism at work, and I can see it likewise with us, not wanting to go to certain countries, but that'll work out very easily.
Do you think some people are scared to come here because they hear the stories of tourists who are detained for a few days or even a week or two?
No, we treat our tourists great. We're the tourism capital of the world. There's no place like this. And there may be a little bit of nationalism, but I doubt it. I actually doubt it.
It turns out foreign visitors are shunning the United States. We're seeing an increasing number of international travelers choose to go elsewhere. Fresh research from Oxford Economics estimates that the U.S. is going to see an $8.5 billion drop-off in spending from foreign visitors this year. And some estimates are even more staggering. You've got the World Travel and Tourism Organization estimating a $12.5 billion drop-off in spending this year. And we're already seeing it show up in the numbers. When you look at flight bookings to the United States between May and July, they're off more than 10%.
This goes out to all my people who have plans to come to the United States or want to come travel to the United States and are like on the fence about it and don't know what to do with everything going on here. Don't come. My recommendation is to 100% boycott this country. Do not spend any money here. Do not plan any travels here. Show them that the world does not need the United States, because they don't. So please just boycott. Boycott and
one thing about the global economy is that it does not operate in isolation. And when a country's political climate becomes controversial or unpredictable, the world pays attention, really. And so tourism is not just about vacations and sightseeing family. It's about perception, it's about safety, it's about reputation, and even diplomacy. And when international travelers choose a destination, they are choosing not only landscapes and landmarks, but also values, stability, and even comfort. And over the past few years, family, America's political landscape has been deeply polarizing, especially around policies strongly associated with the MAGA movement. And for many supporters, family, these policies were about nationalism, border control, economic protectionism, and even prioritizing America first. But the unintended consequences is that when rhetoric becomes aggressive and exclusionary, global audiences listen. And so countries across Europe, parts of Asia, and even traditionally strong US allies have been I've seen public conversations about whether America feels welcoming anymore. And so tourism is one of the most sensitive economic indicators because it depends heavily on emotion. And if travelers feel uncertain, unwelcome, or even politically uncomfortable, they simply choose somewhere else. And so it's that simple. They go to Canada, they go to Europe, they go to Australia, they go to Southeast Asia. And when they make that choice, the impact is not felt in Washington first. It's felt in small businesses. It's felt in hotel by the hotel workers, restaurant staff, rideshare drivers, theme parks, and even local economies that rely on foreign spending. And so here's why the tension begins. Some MAGA voters, particularly in tourism-heavy states, are beginning to realize that political messaging that energizes our domestic base may discourage international visitors. And when you promote a narrative of strict nationalism, when global headlines highlight travel bans, visa restrictions, or even hostile diplomatic rhetoric, that becomes part of America's brand image. And brand image matters in tourism. Image being a European family planning a vacation. You see constant global news about political unrest, heated protests, and even cultural division. And you hear commentary about tightening immigration rules. Even if those policies don't directly affect you, the perception of unpredictability can be enough to change your mind. And so tourism operates on comfort, and comfort can disappear quickly. And now, family, let's talk about the economic layer. International tourists spend billions of dollars annually in the United States, and that money flows into local communities. When those numbers decline even slightly, it can trigger layoffs, reduced hours, and even shrinking business revenue. And so this is where some voters are feeling what they didn't calculate before. The policies they supported may align with their values, but the economic ripple effect doesn't really discriminate by party. And what makes this situation particularly interesting is the irony. Many MAGA supporters champion strong economic growth and even American prosperity, and yet tourism, which is a powerful economic engine, thrives on global corporations and even positive international relationships. And you cannot say America first in a way that sounds exclusionary and even simultaneously expect the world to enthusiastically spend their money in your country. There is a contradiction that is becoming harder to really ignore. Another factor is social media. Global travelers are more informed than ever. They watch viral clips, they follow political commentary, they read international reactions. A single controversial statement can travel worldwide within minutes, and that shapes public perception far beyond American borders. And perception, family, often matters more than policy details. And now, does this mean America is collapsing as a tourism destination? What we can say is that currently, no, the United States still has iconic cities, natural wonders, and even cultural influence that draw millions. But even a modest decline in international travel can feel dramatic in local economies. And so when voters begin connecting economic discomfort to broader political choices, that creates tension within the base. And so family, the bigger lesson here is about interconnectedness. Politics does not exist in a vacuum. National identity influences global relationships, and global relationships influence tourism. And so tourism influences jobs, jobs influence families, and families influence how people vote next time. It's a circle like that. And so some MAGA voters are reportedly expressing frustration, not necessarily because they regret their values, but because they did not anticipate that global reactions will translate into local economic consequences. And if one thing to cheer tough rhetoric on television, it's another thing to see fewer customers in your family-owned restaurant. And what we are witnessing is a conversation about cause and effect. When a nation signals that it's turning inward, the world often responds by looking elsewhere, and that doesn't automatically invalidate anyone's political beliefs, family, but it does highlight the complexity of running a modern superpower in a globalized world. And so the question becomes, can America balance strong national identity with maintaining an inviting global image? Can economic nationalism coexist with tourism-driven prosperity? These are not simple questions, family, but these are the questions shaping the next chapter of American politics. And whether you support MAGA policies or oppose them, the economic reality remains. In a connected world, perception is currency, and when that currency shifts, everyone feels it.